Today on Reality Coaching for Writers, we're asking the question, what are the four marketing assets that many writers overlook and skip? Diana, welcome to Reality Coaching for Writers.
Hey, y'all. Good to be here.
Nothing but the real stuff, no fluff, right?
Right. No fluff, that's for sure.
Yeah, and so that's what we're going to talk about today. You and I were talking about before we came on that part of what we're going to be discussing may only apply to published authors, but then again, if you're following us, you may have the vision of at some point becoming a published author, having your own book up. So hopefully you can tuck a little bit of this in your hip pocket and use it for later. But then the other two assets are items that are available to any of us, even if we're not planning on doing a book. So we're going to kind of jump right in. You said before we came on, you were going to be learning some of this along with some of our viewers, right?
Right. Yes. You've been at this a little bit longer on especially the Google account page.
Yeah, but you're the one that kind of nudged reality coaching into doing a YouTube page. So why don't you tell the audience a bit about why you thought that was a good idea?
Well, we started out doing Facebook Live, and we ran into trouble because so many of the dynamics were being changed and limited. And so we ended up recording these sessions, and YouTube is such a great, has a greater reach internationally. And so it was easy for us to segue from the Facebook Live to the YouTube channel. To a YouTube channel.
Yeah, and I guess I was kind of reluctant to come along because again I'm not a big fan of YouTube anyway. I love watching the surf videos on YouTube. I will do that, but a lot of the other stuff on YouTube, I'm never really sure what's gonna come up at the end of the last video I watched. If that makes sense. If you've ever been on YouTube and you've been watching a video, it's for something that you enjoy, and then the next thing that comes after it's like, what does that have to do with me? It's kind of like that. But anyway, so one of the appeals that YouTube has, and one of the reasons I think it's probably a pretty good marketing tool if you've got some good content to put out there. And when I say good content, it doesn't have to be that great because YouTube will let you put up almost anything almost as lame as it is. But I know a lot of us, especially around here, when we're trying to figure out what to do, the answer is always just, go to YouTube, search the video, you'll figure out how to install the washer, right?
I changed my car's headlight by watching a YouTube tutorial.
Exactly. So YouTube is a great asset for learning things, and that's part of what we're doing, and that's why we got our own Reality Coaching for Writers YouTube channel. Because if you missed this episode live, you can always go to YouTube, and we've got the links in today's episode on Facebook, so you can go to the link and you can see past videos, and that's the appeal of the YouTube channel. Right. You don't have to be live; you can catch it anytime and go back and watch those videos, and slow them down, and stop at certain areas and pick up.
It's so great for taking notes for that reason. You can stop it, take a note, back it up, and you don't miss anything. Whereas in lives, you're really scrambling, and it's great to have things archived.
And I'm sure that somebody's already done this. I've just never seen it advertised, marketed, but I've never seen a writers conference promoted on YouTube. But it seems to me like it's a natural fit. You just get the faculty to go ahead and pre-record all their sessions, and you give it to the conference director, and they upload it on the day of the event. It's a virtual event. You may not even charge for it. You may just be given free information.
Right.
And then there's,
that might be the reason we don't, because if you do a webinar, you can charge, whereas if it's on YouTube, it's pretty much free.
Should be, but if you're monetizing with ads,
there you go.
Back in, and especially if you did the videos right, you could be promoting books during the session. You could be promoting coaching, offsite coaching later on, one-on-ones. So anyway, we may eventually see some of that. One of the advantages YouTube has, and the reason we're going to talk about a little bit about the Google business page is because they're owned by Google.
Right.
And so if you're trying to be found on the web, there's really only one place you go, most people go to find out, to learn to search anything, and that's Google. They go there first. And so again, it's one of those deals where Google kind of owns the search platform, both in search phrases, but also on videos. And so if you've got your Google YouTube channel and you also have a Google business page, then the two kind of interact. I think the algorithms probably do favor each other.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, because
So
AI is keeping track of our habits. When I purchase a book on Amazon, then next thing you know, I'm getting an email from Amazon saying, here's another suggestion, right in the vein of the type of book that I read. So definitely they're keeping track of our traffic and activity. Big Brother is definitely watching us these days.
Yep. So one of the things I've noticed both in our Google business page, Writers Reality Coaching for Writers, our business page, and our YouTube channel, are the number of views that we're seeing. So it's right up there for everybody. Well, it's up there for on YouTube, right. Everybody can see. And on the Google business page, it may be hidden on the back end, only the business owner can see it. But the number of views is much greater than what we get on Facebook.
Right.
This episode is going to be uploaded to Facebook first, and so our listeners will get to see it first. But that's a small market, very small viewership compared to what we see on YouTube.
Right.
And then when we finish this today, I'll also put a post up on our business page about today's episode with a link back to the YouTube video that we're recording right now. And that Google business page, because of the way the search engines work, if somebody's looking for writing coach, writer's coach, coaching for writers, become a better writer, all those search phrases, there's a really good chance our page is going to come up. Somebody's going to find the page, click on the post link, go to this video. And I'm sharing all this with our audience because if that's your business, if you're a writer, and it really doesn't make any difference what you're writing. If you're writing fantasy, for example, or you're writing a Christian living book, if you've got your Google business page, and it's really not hard to set one up, then you can become a subject matter expert on that business page and begin driving traffic to either your website or your YouTube channel, or even to Facebook if you wanted to.
That's great. So is our Google business page Reality Coaching for Writers, or is it writerscoach.us?
It's Writers Coach because that's how it started with me. I don't know what.
Okay.
3 or 4 or 5
and
years
that's
ago.
our joint website now, right?
Yeah.
So, okay.
And this is one caution I will just go ahead and throw out about the Google business page. Be very careful changing any of the name branding content that you put on the page, because Google, they're real cautious about anybody changing anything once it's set up, because they think, well, maybe somebody's gaming the system or somebody's hacked your page and they're getting ready to drive traffic somewhere else. So, for example, I thought about changing our business location, of where Reality Coaching for Writers is listed, right?
Right.
But I read some stuff and it said, if you do that, be very careful, because when you change your location, Google wants to verify that you actually moved your business. Well, we're a virtual business, right?
Right. Yeah.
As most writers are. And so I'm throwing this out there because if you're a writer, you may not want people to know where you live.
Exactly. Yeah.
So one way that you can kind of get around that is if you can find a location that does not already have a business there, a park, some place where there's not land ownership and nobody's already claimed a business at that location. So if you're a writer in Raleigh and you wanted to be listed in Raleigh but not your home address, you may find a park where there's no business, list that as the address kind of close to your house. And I've done that once and it seemed to pass the sniff test and I didn't get banned. That's maybe a off the cuff, do more research than what I gave you, but that's the way I got to work around on one of them. But if you change anything, there's a chance that you may get suspended by Google. So be very careful about how you set it up.
Ooh,
And
okay.
that's why we haven't changed the name. We don't
Right.
change. But one of the things you can do on Google Business is you can list your business, you can list your services, your hours, you can offer special offers, you can have books for sale, you can do events. There's any number of things you can do from your Google Business page, including a daily post. So again, if you want,
not know
you wanted,
that.
well, that's kind of what I've been slowly doing, is taking our reality coaching business page and backfilling it with a thumbnail, with basically an image and the title of the episode we did, and then backfilling it with links to our YouTube channel to that particular video, right? So kind of backfilling.
Right.
But if you're a writer, again, we've talked about blogging before. All you can do with the post is you get the title and a link and one image. Those are the three assets that you can put in. So you're not going to post your whole blog. You're not going to post your whole article. But if you've got your article hosting somewhere else, then you can put the title, a nice attractive image, and then the link to that article. So if you're a writer and you're writing Christian living, if you're writing a sermon, if you're writing a devotional, again, if you're writing just one scene in a fantasy book, you can take that, create a little post and link back to your website. And I hope what I'm saying makes a little bit of sense, again, from a marketing standpoint.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Anytime you can optimize the search engine and help them find you, it's a great way to extend your influence and reach the people you're trying to reach. So that's great. Good to know. I'm going to rewatch this and take notes.
Well, and I think the other thing, you can probably correct me, help me out on this, but one of the things with Google is it takes time for the algorithm of the search to catch up to where you are. So we might go 6 months, 9 months, posting videos and links and post on our business page before Google finally picks up and goes, "Oh, they're getting a lot of traffic. We're going to feature it more higher in the search results," right? So this is more of a comment of, don't get discouraged if you don't see a lot of views right away. Just keep sowing the seed, and maybe encourage people to go to your Google Business page and leave a review for your services, and which we've done that a few times, but that helps.
Just like book reviews help authors on Amazon, Goodreads, and Barnes and Noble site. Definitely, every little bit helps, and it's so important now to support those that you read, those that you receive service from, because everybody's online offering their knowledge. And how do other people find us? How do they find our favorite authors? How do they find our pastor and his sermons? It's because we share what blessed us about them, what moved us, particular link to a particular message or book. I like to take pictures of book covers and post what I'm reading for the week. I'll do that sporadically, but I always figure it's a shout out to help the author, find a new reader.
Yeah, that's a great segue into one of the things I would encourage our audience to do here is, if you have a great writing book, and we did this in the past week. Sarah mentioned a writing book that somebody recommended to her, and you and I kind of chimed in on the book. Nick Harrison's book, and that's one of those instances where it's okay. This is not, I don't think it's called gaming the system. I don't think it's spamming. I don't think it's anything like that, but it's okay in a review for reality coaching for writers on the Google review page. Like if you're reviewing our Google business page and you were saying, well, Eddie and Diane are doing a great job, it's perfectly okay for you to also mention the title of a book. Don't list the link, and you don't want it to sound like a promotion. But if you find another writing book that's encouraged you, then in your review, mention it. again, because it's like you said, you're sharing information. And I've done that a couple times and I haven't gotten dinged for it. So I think Google allows you to do that. I don't think they,
Like you said, you're mentioning a title, but you're not providing a link, correct?
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
probably the key there.
Yeah. But again, it's a
Yeah.
good way for somebody that's going to go through their views to go, oh, I hadn't heard of that book. And they can search it and they can find it and decide if it's something they're interested in. The only other thing I think we've run into so far that I've learned is that to post a Google review, it seems like you have to have a Gmail account. So that's the only other caveat. So again, it's Google. They're trying to own the world, and it's divided up between Facebook, Twitter, and Amazon, I guess. But that seems to be the one hiccup. I've had a few people say I tried to post a review, but I didn't have a Gmail account. So that may be the case. I'm not saying I'm an authority on that, but that from the back end reading back, that seems to be the case. We've got books. We can list books for sale on our Google business page. So again, if you're an author and you've got books for sale, you can feature your books on there. You can put pictures up on the business page. And maybe one of the things we're going to talk about this maybe next week with Shonda when we get her on there is because you can do events. You can invite people to an event and have them show up and feature that on your Google business page. And again, drive traffic. There's a lot you can do with the Google business page.
That's awesome. See, new thing I'm learning just along with our viewers here today. So that's great. Thank you, Eddie.
So let's switch a little bit and talk about on Amazon. You can have an Amazon author page, and I know we've hit on this once a couple of times before, but it's still one of those features that I find an awful lot of authors never get around to listing their author page on Amazon. And this is one of those things where as soon as your book is listed for pre-sale on Amazon, it's almost one of those things where even if you want to be a traditionally published author, I would encourage you to go ahead and find something you can self-publish. Not a bad book, but just something short, just to get yourself established on Amazon as an author, so you can create your own Amazon author page. So there's not something that gets left at the end of the process, and you're scrambling at the very end to go in and get your author content up. Because what happens is if you don't have an Amazon author page, when somebody finds your book on Amazon and they click on your hyperlink name, it just goes to the search page. They don't learn any more about it than what they already knew. And we've provided a link in this episode to where if you logged into Amazon, you can go ahead and set up your author page if you've got a book. It may be, I may be wrong, may not be saying this correctly, but it may be that you can set up your author page without a book.
I didn't know. I don't know that.
I was sitting there thinking about it through the setup process. I'm not sure that it ever asked you if you have a book first. The downside is once you get your page set up, if you don't have a book, nobody's going to find you, right?
Right.
But either way,
it's a tool that works hand in hand. Yeah, as an agent, boy, that was as soon as we got a contract, I had people working on their author profile for Amazon. And as you sell additional books, you also need to go in and claim the next book. So then when they click on your hyperlink name, they see everything you have to offer, all of the books you've written. And so it's something you have to keep updating. I know, Eddie, you were really great at providing a link to your blog, a link to all your written materials. And so I often used your author portal page or your author profile page as an example to my clients of what to do with that, to how to maximize that page, because it's pretty valuable. It can lead to additional sales, but also just people get an opportunity to get to know you better through it and through your little information paragraphs. And I think it's a tool I love to go and read up as soon as I find a new a new author that I like, I go and read their Amazon profile. Yeah. And then I check what other books and go to my library and request them and then work my way through them. That's just how if I find an author I like, I pretty much read everything they write.
That's great. So the other thing, and then we'll wrap up on the Author Central, we'll wrap this up. But the other thing that's of real value to having that Author Central Amazon account is if you have a first version of a book, and this has come up recently with some authors who are getting the rights back to their book and they're going to release their book as an indie author, or if they were going to go pitch it to another house, then they pick up the title. Right. But the question was, what happens to the reviews? If my publisher makes my book out of print, where do the reviews go? Do I lose them? And the answer is no, you don't lose the reviews. The reviews stay with the title of the book, because even though the book is out of print, on Amazon, the reviews stay with that title, and there are always used copies on Amazon for sale. So the reviews are there. With your Amazon Author Central account, at the bottom of the page, there's a Contact Us button, and that'll take you to a page, and you can request a help desk ticket. One of the things you can do is when your book that went out of print and you get the rights back, or another publisher decides to publish it, and that second version comes out and it's up for sale on Amazon and it's showing with 0 reviews because it's a new book on Amazon, you can go and ask for the 2 versions to be linked together. At that point, the old reviews from the old title are also shared with the new version. And that's one of just a key element of keeping your reviews with your new versions and keeping your content up to date.
Yeah, that's so helpful, Eddie, because so often we choose a book to read based on reviews, just like we choose products on Amazon, health and beauty, shoes or cameras for Zooming. I read the reviews, and that's a great thing to be able to keep the reviews. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say it's pretty discouraging to release a second version of a book and you put it out there and it's better than the first version. You tweaked it a little bit, and there's no reviews, and you can't get reviews. The book is old; it's been out there a while, and so you just tweaked it a little bit. But it's an older book, right? It's really hard to get reviews, and until you get those new reviews transferred over, it looks like it's a dead book. Once the reviews come over, they're still old reviews, but at least, like you said, they've got ratings and stars with them, and that matters a lot.
It does. It does.
So the last tip is, if you've got a KDP account, if you're an indie author and you're publishing your own content out there.
And KDP means?
Oh yeah, Kindle Direct Publishing, which started out as Kindle, but it's actually Kindle and paperback and hardback through Amazon. So this is Amazon's self-publishing authors platform. So if you're going to publish print, paperback, hardback, print, paperback, and Kindle, that's going to go through your KDP account, and you just need an Amazon account, and then you set up your KDP account right alongside of it, and you're a publisher at that point. In that platform, once you have a book listed, under the ellipses, you mouse over the ellipses, and there's a little drop-down box that pops up. I always tell authors it's a little bit like playing Dungeons and Dragons, where you used to, the old version where you had to mouse over things and a little coin would pop out, or a sword or something like that. You had to know the tricks. Well, that's what the ellipses are on KDP. I don't know why they make the navigation so difficult, but they do. So the ellipses, you mouse over, and you get a little drop down you can pick from. Promotion is what you're looking for. I think it's advertising and promotion or something like that. Click on that link. And then within that, on the page, there's something called A+ content. You pick Amazon.com rather than Amazon UK. So we're going to stick in the US. You pick on Amazon.com for the US. And that takes you to an area where you can add a big picture. You can add 4 pictures with text. You can talk about yourself. You can talk about your dog. You can put any picture you want to.
Oh,
You
wow.
can. It's a huge piece of real estate that shows up below where your book's description is on the Amazon page. Okay, so let's say you've got a historical romance, and there are 3 paragraphs that are describing the story, and then at the bottom it always says, it's either read less, read more. That little paragraph will expand and contract. Down below the sponsored ads where the other books show up, scroll down there. Down below that, you'll begin to see, if you use A+ content, you'll begin to see pictures, more description, maybe a story from the author, a little description of why she wrote the book. On my books, I don't know if I did it on all of these. Most of them, I included an illustration from the books themselves. So like on the pirate books, I actually use the illustrations, put an illustration, a little description. I list the benefits to the readers, for parents. Why buy this series? This is what your child is going to get if they buy the book. The point is, A+ content. That's how they named it. It's just a huge real estate opportunity for authors, and many authors.
And it's free.
It's free. It's free. One of the things, in fact, I didn't actually explain what I was doing, but one of the things I'm testing is getting readers to send pictures of things of scenes that they draw, or characters they draw from a story, right? So if you think about it, you could, and I'm going to try this, you could actually have a collage of illustrations from readers that have submitted, or better yet, if you've got a romance series, you could get a snapshot of people reading your book. Maybe they might not want their face on Amazon, so maybe they might do it in such a way they're not shown, but maybe a picture of the book, background is a beach, background is a mountains, background is a desert, cover there, a little bit of them, and feature them on the below your book's description on the A+ content area. It's a way of people to kind of see themselves reading your book, a little bit of notoriety. I don't know if it'll work. I think it probably will. I've found people in the past usually like to be included, and this is a way of including readers in the content itself.
Yeah, especially with your readers being young boys you're targeting, although a lot of young girls enjoy your mysteries, and old gals like myself. But I think to engage your reader in that way, it's a powerful connection that you're making. And I love that you're saying how this is additional real estate that comes to you free. I mean, there's so much free opportunities out there, and I appreciate, Eddie, you bringing them here to our listeners, because what we don't know, we can't take advantage of, and so I think that's great. That's great.
Yeah. I mean, I was actually thinking, when I was talking about A+ content earlier, I was thinking about Anne Mulligan, who's written a whole series of, women's fiction set in the South, but she also wrote a recipe book to go with the series.
Right. Yeah.
Well, Anne she could do a recipe a week, for example, and just, it would update it every week on our A+ content page. And there would be a thing that each Monday at 12 o'clock, I post a new recipe, to keep driving people back to her Amazon page week after week, right? That's traffic. Yeah. And eventually, if somebody comes to the page enough, oh, what the heck, I'll just go ahead and buy the copy of the book, I'll go ahead and buy her latest novel, right? Which is what you're trying to do.
And when you have good activity like that, Amazon jumps in and helps promote you. They will send emails out. We're recommending this read for you this week. I can't tell you how many times I'll get something in my inbox that is a reader I've read in the past, and I will forward the email to them, and I'll say, hey, look, you popped up, Amazon's advertising you, and this is the email I received. So Amazon, they're in the book selling business, so they will partner with you if they see you doing proactive marketing and proactive things. They will partner with you.
the way these 4 tips came out, and one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it early this year was because authors asked me, what can I do to promote my book? These are the 4 things I tell them to do first. I do, because these don't cost you anything to get these set up. It's effort. It's going to take effort, and it's going to send you down a path where you got to keep filling in the YouTube channel with a little bit of content. And the YouTube content on YouTube, it can be just you reading a blurb out of your book and adding a couple of pictures on the video and put it up there, right? It can be short.
Yeah. My tip for that is 10 minutes. If it's shorter than 10 minutes, it doesn't grab some of the attention that you're hoping for. So at least 10 minutes, but even 10-minute content can provide a lot of draw attention. And a lot of people use YouTube to blog, and you could just talk about your writing process, especially if you're a historical fiction writer. How do you do your research? Where do you go? How do you build those scenes? Develop your characters. Do you use a whiteboard? Do you work with cutout pictures from magazines? All of that would be interesting to other people that are interested in writing in your genre. So 10 minutes of that once a week, and you've got content for a YouTube channel.
Yeah, and I aim for a lot shorter than that, just so everybody knows. I go shorter because I don't just have time to do 10 minutes. If I can get 1 minute, that's good for me. That's really what they call a real short, YouTube short.
Yeah, they're doing short. Yeah.
So that you do kind of 2. One's a teaser, the other one's a little more full blown.
Right.
But that's going to send you down a path where you got to kind of commit to producing content, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you do it, if it's once every 2 weeks, twice a month, probably put yourself on a schedule to do that. You're going to be doing something similar on the business page. And it's not going to take as much effort because you're pointing from the business page back to your YouTube channel. That's what you're doing there. Those 4 things that we just mentioned are going to take a little bit of time, but they're free. And after you've done all that, then begin to think about Amazon ads, where you're going to start spending bucks. That's my recommendation, and that's why we're featuring this today. Before you go throw the money at the Amazon ads, do the free stuff first. Lay the foundation and do the free stuff first.
Yeah, great. Lay the foundation. I like that.
Well, I didn't get to see out your window and see the beach scene. I did see the one earlier today. It was a really nice sunset. So that was.
I will post for everybody. Yeah. Something.
Yeah. If you follow us on our Reality Coaching for Writers Google page, I'm going to keep doing screen grabs of Diana's shots that she sends and keep throwing them up there. So you can follow us there. Diana, we will have a guest speaker. We'll have a guest next week. Shonda Whitworth is going to be with us talking about writing coaching. And so any closing thoughts before we take off today?
Just don't beat yourself up if you're slow in getting started towards your goals for the year. Just start whenever you muster up the strength to do it. So be easy on yourself, give yourself grace, but get started in some small way.
I like that. Get started in some small way, like a turtle. The turtle had to take the first step. So there you go. All right, y'all have a